ISLM framework. The ISLM framework is used for determining the general level of equilibrium in the economy. General equilibrium in the sense that all the markets in the economy are equilibrium at the same time. Broadly, in a two-sector economy, there are two markets. One is the product market and another is the money market. So the overall equilibrium requires that the product market and money market are simultaneously in equilibrium. Before establishing such general equilibrium point, we first derive the IS curve and LM curve individually. The IS curve shows the level of interest and the level of income that leads to the equilibrium in product market. In other words, IS curve shows the interest rates and income levels that can equate the demand and supply in the product market. In two-sector economy, total demand is equal to the sum of consumption expenditure C and investment expenditure I, and the aggregate supply is the total production that is either consumed or saved. Thus, for equilibrium, demand equals to supply implies that C plus I equals C plus S, which implies investment must be equal to saving. So, for goods market equilibrium, the aggregate demand equals to aggregate supply condition can be rewritten as the equality of saving and investment. Under this approach, we derive the IS curve using the following 4-panel figure. This panel shows the inverse relationship between investment and the rate of interest. When interest rate is higher, the level of investment is lower, and when the interest rate is low, the level of investment is high. The second panel, which is called panel B, shows the equality between saving and investment. The 45-degree line drawn in this panel ensures that investment equals saving. For example, I1 is equal to S1 and I2 is equal to S2. The third panel, panel C, shows the saving curve. Saving depends on income, and as income increases, saving increases. The saving is a positive function of income, that's why it is an upward sloping function. And panel D shows the derived IS curve. To derive the IS curve, let us start with R1 interest rate at which investment is I1. For the goods market be in equilibrium, this investment must be equals to saving S1, and for S1 level of saving, the income level must be determined at Y1. Thus, we get a point G, which shows that at R1 interest rate and Y1 level of income, the goods market is in equilibrium. So the point G is a point on the IS curve. Again, consider that interest rate falls from R1 to R2. At a lower interest rate, investment will be higher, denoted by I2, and for goods market equilibrium, the higher investment must be matched by higher saving, and for maintaining a higher saving, income level must be higher than Y1, that is income level must be Y2. Thus, we get another point S at which interest rate is R2 and income level is Y2. That maintains the saving investment equality in panel B. And so this is another point of the IS curve. By joining the points like G and H, we get a downward sloping IS curve as shown in this panel, panel D. Now, this IS curve is always downward sloping. It is because it cannot pass through the points like G and E. The points like G and F, or the points like E and F. I mean, it cannot be vertical, it cannot be horizontal, or it cannot be upward sloping. To To explain this, let us consider point E, at which income level is Y1, that is saving is S1 only. On the other hand, at point E, interest rate is R2 and investment is I2. So at point E, saving is S1 only, whereas investment is I2. That is, investment is this much, whereas saving is this small. So at point E, saving is not equal to investment, that is, saving is less than investment. It cannot maintain goods market equilibrium. So IS curve cannot pass through G and E, because E is not a point of goods market equilibrium. In a similar way, F is also not a point of goods market equilibrium, because at point F, interest rate is R1, as such investment is I1 only, whereas at point F, income is Y2, whereas saving is S2. So saving is this much, whereas investment is this much only. So investment is less than saving, or saving is greater than investment at point F. So this is not a point of goods market equilibrium. So since E and F are not the points of goods market equilibrium, IS curve cannot be horizontal going through the point G and F. It cannot be vertical going through the point F and H, and it cannot be an upward sloping curve going through the point E and F. That is the reason why the IS curve is always downward sloping. So we can formally derive the IS curve. Here we consider the three-sector economy where total aggregate demand equals C plus I plus G, and the goods market equilibrium requires aggregate supply equals to aggregate demand. So the consumption is a positive function of disposable income. C equals to A plus B times Y minus T. Y minus T is disposable income, Y is income, T is total taxes. So investment is a negative function of interest rate. I equals to C minus DR. The minus sign ensures that there is a negative relationship between I and R. Government expenditure is suppose exogenously determined. Substituting this into aggregate supply equals to demand condition, we get the value of Y as a function of R. So this is the equation of IS curve, from which we can derive the following results. There is a negative relationship between R and Y because the coefficient of R has negative sign. So that is why the IS curve is always negatively sloped. The government expenditure has a positive sign, so increase in government expenditure has positive impact on IS curve. Increase in government expenditure shifts the IS curve upwards. A decrease in government expenditure shifts the IS curve downwards. The total taxes has a negative coefficient. It means increase in tax rate shifts the IS curve upwards. Increase in taxes shifts the IS curve upwards, and decrease in taxes shifts the IS curve downwards. So government expenditure and total taxes are the two shift factors of the IS curve. The slope of the IS curve indeed depends on the value of D and B. D is the slope of the investment curve. The higher the value of D, the more sensitive is the investment to the interest rate, that is, the investment curve is flatter. In such a situation, IS curve will also be flatter. Thus, flatter the investment curve, flatter will be IS curve, and steeper the investment curve, and steeper will be the IS curve. Furthermore, slope of IS curve also depends on the value of marginal propensity to consume. The larger the value of MPC, the flatter the IS curve. So in summary, we can say that IS curve always slopes downwards. The second result is a very important result. To each point on the IS curve, like the point in P, like the point E, so like this point here, saving is always less than investment. We can remember this in a very simple way by remembering that in comparison to point H, point E has a lower income level. So lower income level means lower saving level, so saving is less than investment. At point F, which lies to the right of the IS curve, in comparison to the point G, income is higher. Higher income means higher saving. So at point F, saving is always greater than investment. So at any point to the right of IS curve, saving is greater than investment, and to any point at any point to the left of the IS curve, saving is less than investment. The third important result is the shift factors in IS curve are the fiscal policy factors like government expenditure and taxes. Increase in government expenditure shifts the IS curve outwards or upwards, whereas increase in tax shifts the IS curve inwards or downwards. Thank you for watching this video.